It's dark outside and I've been up in this bitch getting fried. Welcome back to Bestie After Dark. It's time to tell your stories. As a reminder, Bestie After Dark is a 100% follower-submitted series. If you would like to get your story to me, please visit ycbestie.com and click the little button that says bad. The title of tonight's first story is A Used Tampon is Not Returnable. Until I was 23, I was convinced that I wanted to save my V card for that someone special. Well, my depressed ass was then prescribed Zoloft, and holy hell did that make me an impulsive, unsafe hoe. I met this guy, Dave, on a dating app, and less than 8 hours later, I was at his house. This was like 2 days after my first same day, special, sensual encounter, which was a fail. Because that guy couldn't keep it up after I topped him. Girl. Dave puts on all of the moves, and we do it. I didn't tell him that I'm still a holder of the V card because I made that mistake with the other guy and with another guy, not the other guy, another guy. And he was so weird about it. He begged me for weeks to let him be my first. He would FaceTime me to, handle his business into a toilet. I can't lie, I'm running behind on this week's episode. And I did a live reading of this story last night on my page because I post clips on my social media pages, which is what I'm known for. Blah, blah, blah. This series, if you're curious, is based on me and my own insane fucking stories and how I tell those stories, how I present them. So, anyways, into the toilet made me take pause last night and again, right now, right here, right now, today. Because what? Into the toilet, you poor thing. You poor sweet girl. Listen, he would plead while yanking it off into the toilet to fuck me because he is just so good at it. He's so good at it. Saying that it would help him get over his fiance having cheated on him. Okay. His fiance realized that she was a lesbian, and that's why she was leaving him. I wonder why. Anyways, he ends up getting engaged to an old friend of mine less than 2 years later. She doesn't know about our interactions because we haven't spoken in a long time. Awkward as fuck. I have no proof, otherwise I honestly might reach out to her. Anyways, my first time doing it with the other dude, he stuck 2 fingers up my booty hole and I was caught so off guard. After we did it, he asked if I liked it and I was like, it was fine, I guess, and I told him that it was my first time. The look on his face was a weird mix of being pleased with himself, but also very embarrassed. Fast forward to the 3rd time that we do it, he convinces me to try letting him put it in the back door because I have a tampon in. I didn't fucking know that you're supposed to prep for this, and he had fed me macaroni and cheese beforehand. I'm lactose intolerant, and I have IBS. I thought maybe if we acted quickly, I could avoid a messy situation. Well, Corporate Bestie, let's just say there was shit on his D. Let's just say it, babe. Luckily, it wasn't really that much, considering how bad it could have been, but it was horrifying. I ran to the bathroom and I started to clean myself up. I was praying to sweet baby Jesus I could clean up quick, leave, and never speak to him again. After taking a vile shit and removing my tampon, I realized that there is not a single piece of toilet paper, a tissue, a paper towel in this bathroom. Nothing. After spending what felt like a year fighting off a mental breakdown, I finally yell and I ask him to bring me some toilet paper. Before I continue, I want you to please take 3 fucking guesses what this man brought me. Please share your guesses if you read this online. My guesses are still the same as they were last night. Again, I read this before. This was actually a guaranteed story time slot as well. You have the option to You have the option to force my hand. Okay, for $20, I'm willing to do a lot of shit, including read your fucking story. No, last night I said, what did I say? Washcloth. A Clorox wipe. Because I thought, Clorox wipe. I thought that Clorox wipes made sense. Like, this just has Clorox wipe situation. And a whole fucking towel. Those were my guesses. A whole ass entire goddamn motherfucking towel. Never in my fucking life, my almost 26 years on Earth, would I have guessed what the answer was, though. A single lemon-scented wet wipe from Buffalo Wild Wings. I wish that I was lying. I couldn't make this shit up if I tried. I said, fuck this. I got in his shower. I love that you're like, fuck it, I'm taking a shower here. Fuck you. I love that. I did the best I could considering that there was not a washcloth. I'm surprised that there was soap, babe, based on this story. I had to air dry like a goddamn dog because of course there wasn't a towel either. I ran back into his bedroom for my clothes. Then I returned to the bathroom and I wrapped up my tampon in the wet wipe. He's a man, so of course why would there be a trash can in the bathroom? He's in the kitchen waiting for me, so I try to act casual and I throw the tampon in the trash. As soon as it leaves my hand, I gasp. It was a bin with a flipping lid, so I had dropped it in the fucking 5-cent returnable bin. I immediately fling the top off and I start digging. He comes over to ask what the fuck I'm doing, and I said, I put trash in here. He says it's no big deal, and he chuckled, and I yelled, it's my fucking used tampon! He hugged me, and I don't remember what words were exchanged, but I left shortly after that. Honestly, he was pretty chill about that night. He didn't shame me at all, and we pretty much just pretended it didn't happen. Shortly after this situation, I ended things because I wanted to date, and he clearly just wanted to hook up. Between the second and third time we slept together, I convinced him to go on a date. We went to Dave & Buster's. We bought our own cards, and tell me why this man wouldn't let me keep possession of mine the whole time. You weak, silly little girl. You're not responsible enough to hold your own Dave & Buster's card that you paid for. Ah! Why do y'all be putting up with this shit? I used to. I get it. And then one day I was like, fuck that. You know what I love? Being alone. And then anytime I would get lonely, I would go troll on the dating apps and I would just bully them into changing their profile. I swear! I would just bully them until they changed their profile, and so many of them did it. And then one night I was scrolling and flipping and I saw the frat man and I was like, damn, he's hot. And then we matched and he like did not ask me for my number. He was taking his sweet ass time, so I was like, here, take it. And we kind of been together ever since. Anyways, he kept saying that I was going to lose her Dave & Buster's card. And then he combined our points to buy stuff that he wanted in the prize section. He didn't understand why I was so annoyed when we sat down to eat after. That date should have been a sign from the universe to run then, but I went back for one more time and it resulted in the shitty D and recycling a used tampon. This was funny and therapeutic to write out. A handful of bad decisions after him made me realize that I'm queer and I'm absolutely repulsed by men's pee-pee parts. Period. So I really could have avoided all of this if I didn't try to force myself to be straight. It's crazy that I would say period to that because I'm quite comfortable with the pee-pee part. It's the cooters that scare me. I'm also thanking God I was not plagued by a pet sperm. Period. I'm happy for you too. The title of your story time is Jim Bro and the Audacity Olympics. This guy I had seen for nearly 3 days straight and had been hooking up with did some really crazy shit. To preface this, he's a 25-year-old gym bro who obviously has mental health issues and brings up his ex situationship, not even relationship, situationship, 24/7. He leaves trash everywhere for me to clean up. He spilled alcohol on my couch. He only talks about himself, and he is just a plain asshole sometimes. Why are you seeing him? Can I ask that? Why the fuck are you seeing him? Anyways, I had him over for the third day after he asked to, and he got drunk, which is fine. I don't really care. But then he forcibly drunk drove us and ran over a median, even though I told him not to drive and that I did not want to get in the car. When we get back home, he drunk calls his mom on speakerphone right next to me, and the highlights of that conversation were, first, she asked where he was, and he said a name similar to mine, but not mine. And when she found out how old I was, she asked him what he was doing with a 20-year-old and why he isn't dating his own age, and she clocked him. Mom for the fucking win! Thank God! Thank fucking God! Because why is he here? It's because he's such a goddamn asshole. She clocked him. She asked how he had gas money. The answer is, I had given him $35. And he said he was a handsome guy and women are willing to pay him. She was like, are you soliciting yourself? And then she was like, if you get so much money from women, why can't you pay your bills? She said, what about two of the girls he's been talking to's names? And he said they blocked him and that one is a dirty whore. Then she asked him about a girl from his high school, and he said, if she came up to me right now, I would drop everything. And she said, oh my God, you are at a girl's house right now. Did she hear that? And he went, shh. Was he on FaceTime? Was this a phone call or a FaceTime? Girl, no wonder you boosted this story 3 times. I needed to see this. Sit on the... It doesn't actually fit on here. Okay, but my coaster... I don't know if you can tell. It says bitch. Okay, I have another one that says cunt. I have one that says shit and one that says fuck. I fucking love cussing, bro. Like... Listen, and I like to cuss like it's my first motherfucking goddamn day on the earth, okay? Like, I just split the ground open and erupted from hell. And I was like, fuck you, bitch! Anyways, I lost my story. Take me back to... Okay. I read ahead. He put his finger in my face. So he went... I have 2 cameras going in different angles. Anyways. I hate him! Where is he? Where is he? Then the conversation kept getting more personal, so I went to the bathroom. When I heard him finally get off the phone, I come back, and she calls him again because apparently he had hung up on her. I was done at this point. I just wanted to sleep. So I'm like, he can just sleep in my bed and leave in the morning and I'll never see him again. We get in bed. I can't find the TV remote and we just play on our phones until the conversation dies down. I look over and he is on Snap texting other girls. I don't give a fuck, but then he starts zooming in on other women's nudes right next to me. I turn over and I notify him that I saw and he doesn't process it. Then I feel the bed moving and him fucking moaning. I look over and he's handling himself in my bed. I do a double take. I got up without even looking at him. I closed the door and I went and I sat on the couch. I texted him and I said that he needs to leave. And he's like, wait, come and talk to me. And I said, no, please leave. He comes out. He asks how much I saw. And I said, way too much. He starts apologizing and eventually crying. I told him to leave. And he said that he would sleep on the couch. I was too scared at this point of this drunk, 6-foot, jacked up gym bro guy. And I told him no. I went in my room and he texted me saying that he'll block all the other girls and stuff, still not computing that this is not the issue. He's basically begging me to let him back in my bed. Then I went out there and I told him he needs to leave. He kept asking me why I didn't like him anymore, and I said he makes me uncomfortable and disrespected and he needs to leave. Include this at your own discretion. The night before, he fed me alcohol and I could barely move, and we still did it. There were fingerprint-sized bruises on my throat that night, and it was swollen the next morning. He filmed me while I was like that. And then he said shit about how he doesn't give up on people he cares about. And he's a serial cheater, which I don't think was an issue since we were just friends with benefits, was bound to happen. And he kept saying that he would block them. And I was like, that is not the fucking problem. I get his things together and I tell him he can sleep in his truck outside of my house. He tried to hug me and say, what can I do to make it right? And I told him I'm not going to tolerate being disrespected. And I gave him his things. He tried to purposefully leave his bag, but I made sure he got it. Then I went to my guy best friend's house for the night. He kept calling and texting me. Highlights from his text were, give me a call if you feel like it, I guess. What happened? People make mistakes. I care about you more than I care about myself. One more question and then I'll stop. Have you ever had someone truly understand you? Not surface level, but understand the entire you. How did that make you feel? I don't want to make you feel anything short of that. I mean it. I don't want to give up on you because I don't give up on people I care about. And when asked why he would jerk it in my bed with me in it, he said, I just be doing shit when I'm drunk. I don't know what to tell you. I was terrified that he was going to force himself on me or hurt me. He tried to hug me before he left, but I said hell no. Also, my best friend was nearly on the phone with the cops, as he should have been. So I'm going to be so real with you, right? And this might be hard to hear. You were very blatantly assaulted. Okay? To the point that I'm going to actually put like a warning before the additional portion of the story that you included. Not because of you, babe, but because of other people, right? And their sensitivities due to things that they themselves have experienced. But given, right, that I've experienced some very violent bedroom encounters, right, that dramatically morphed and shaped how I viewed what should be something like intimate and potentially romantic, very bonding, very, loving, very loving, into something violent and cruel and cold. And that, like, that's just what I expected. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just expected it to be like this. There were times where I would start crying subconsciously. I wouldn't even realize it. I didn't know. I'd forgotten about this until someone brought it up and like threw it in my face, actually. Right? That's a separate story. Someone reminds me to tell you about the throw up guy saying that he loves me like 10 years later. I got you. But yeah, so because my earliest experiences were so violent and I was so young, right? Whether or not you've been through that, if you have been through like really any type of romantic or intimate violence, it shapes the way that you view what this should be like. Okay? And so I can tell you for a fact, a good person who cares about you, who loves you, would never do that to you. A good partner that cares about you, that loves you, that even just fucking likes you as a human being, is cool with you being alive, would not take advantage of you while you are in such a vulnerable position, but especially not in such a violent manner. Okay? even if you can excuse the first part. The second part, let's be honest, okay? Like, I understand there might be times where you and your partner are both intoxicated and you don't realize that you're on different levels. That's different. This, I would encourage you to take some time to actually process it and it seems like you have. I hope that, like the first story submission said, that this was even therapeutic for you in a way, potentially. But I was seeing the guy that fucking donkey punched me. And our first few encounters, I was covered in bruises. Like everywhere. My neck, my legs, everywhere. And it didn't sink in for me at the time. Like, this is wrong. This shouldn't be happening. Like, and I had no idea why. I had no understanding of why. And one of my best friends at the time, who I'm no longer friends with, would go out of his way to, like, excuse and enable the behavior of other men. And at the time, I had trouble connecting that this was, like, misogyny and abuse enablement and whatever, just coming from a man who sees things from a male perspective, because this was my one of my longest standing friends, and he's gay. And it just, like, didn't click for me. Okay? Like, and I didn't mean it to be intentionally homophobic. Maybe it was, like, some type of internalized, I don't fucking know. But it just didn't click for me. Like, no, you are an evil ass man. Like, my friend was. My friend was, same friend that, like, brought the guy home from the club and I slept outside on New Year's. No. Evil. Okay, and so I'm also seeing this evil ass guy. My friend is low-key fucking, something else. And so, anyways, it took me a long time to come to terms with the fact that, like, in the first relationship I was in after my separation, it happened very quickly. It was violent, whether I realized it or not. It was not healthy. And that by even being in this predicament, in this situation, I was putting myself through the same shit. So think about it, babe. If you haven't thought about it, I'm sorry if this isn't what you wanted from your storytime submission. The rest is crazy. I don't fucking like this guy. But that portion for me is alarming, just in the context of, if you're running from it, it will catch up to you one day. Okay? So I would encourage you to sit with whatever emotions you feel about what happened and actually feel them through and just see how you feel. Okay? You don't have to listen to a bitch on the internet. If you don't feel impacted by this, cool. But I'm not cool with that. Does that make sense? I think you know what I mean, queen. Okay. Love you. On to the next story. The title of your After Dark story. Perfect timing. What a segue. I have to make sure that these are in order, okay? Like, because it's just so organic. The title of your After Dark story time is Evil Twink. This is about a guy who is super fucking abusive, physically, mentally, and emotionally. We call him the Evil Twink. So Evil Twink and I met in college, and we started dating. Mind you, I was warned several times from his friends to not date this guy because he would fuck me over. And you were like, it's cool. It happens to the best of us. So the night we start dating was when he invited me over to his house because he wanted to talk to me about being his girlfriend. Honey, this whole time I thought you were a man. You know that you're not supposed to be calling that man that. Okay? Are you even a true handler? Do you even have a gay man that was assigned to you since birth? Come on now. There's someone in this world that calls me their hag. You know you're not supposed to be calling that boy a fucking twink. Be serious. Anyways, back to your goddamn story. Where is this fucking shit? must be fucking queer or something. I just saw your name. So the night we started dating was when he invited me over to his house because he wanted to ask me to be his girlfriend after driving me to Lake Tahoe to watch the sunset, which never fucking happened. Instead, we got it in, and then he said he loved me. Fast forward a month, it's his birthday, and he picks me up from my house to go to his, and then get taken to a family-friendly casino that had go-karts with his dad and his dad's girlfriend. Okay, the day goes by and his parents are divorced and shit, so he never told his dad he had dinner plans with his mom. His dad kept us late and took the longest route back home, which led Evil Twink to be late to his mom's dinner, but he still had to take me home. We're driving home and my mom's texting, yelling at me because I'm not home yet and she thought I would be home sooner. Evil Twink then says, fuck your mom. I'm going to mine. So he gets off on the next exit and I'm freaking out screaming, like, I have to get home. I have shit to do. Like, I told you this. And he's like, you're not getting out of the car. You're having dinner with my mom, who I'd never met. Ended up at the dinner place. I took an Uber home because I was so angry. He kept me against my will. Fast forward to our breakup 3 months later. Oh, I know a bunch of shit happened in them fucking 3 months. What? He thought I was cheating on him when I wasn't. Then went to get a new girlfriend about 3 months after that. This new girlfriend somehow found my number and both of them started calling me from fucking star 67 constantly. I ignore these. This girlfriend proceeds to contact me through 7 different numbers, not including her main line, in which she threatens to beat my ass and to stop talking to her man. She even left a voicemail on her main line telling me to fuck off. You know who this is, you cheating ass hoe. I found out later she cheated on her previous partner to be with him, then cheated on him with the same previous partner. What? And then she was gonna beat my ass on a holiday. What holiday? Like Christmas? Thanksgiving? What are we talking? Earth Day? Arbor Day? You know what I mean? There's different levels. Whooping your ass on Christmas, vicious. Whooping your ass on Arbor Day, bitch, that's a Wednesday. Don't nobody give a fuck. They would not stop calling me. He would call me to tell me he missed me, while his girlfriend would call me to stop contacting her man because he told her I was contacting him instead of the other way around. Girl. So a year later, he calls me on his birthday. I pick up and I say, please do not talk to me ever again, nor your girlfriend, or I will get a restraining order. I hang up. 10 minutes later, my mother gets a text from him saying, please tell your daughter to stop harassing me and my girlfriend. We just want to be done with this. Oh, honey, that's like, he might genuinely be a narcissist. That's rough. In the middle of dating and all this, he stalked me, showed up to my neighborhood when I walked my dog, and at work, he knew when I would be there. He physically abused me to the point where I had fingerprint-shaped bruises on my arms. He had also attempted to have his way with me by force. What? There's just so much happening here, babe. This happened in 3 months. You were young. You were young. But, geez Louise. Okay, so we're not going to make this last this long next time, right? I'm not victim blaming you at all, okay? Just cut this whole fucking shit. I don't want to hear anybody's goddamn mouth about the fucking... Okay, cut this portion. In the middle of dating and all, he'd stalked me. He showed up in my neighborhood when I was walking my dog, and he knew when I would be at work. He'd also put his hands on me to the point where I had fingerprint-shaped bruises on my arms, as well as trying to take advantage of me. Long story short, he's now got a record, and he might be going to jail for a bit, because I reported all of it, and he also did some hate crimes with friends at a kid's school. What? Hate crimes with friends at a kid's school is not a fucking sentence I wanted to hear. Anyways, I hope he doesn't see this. Don't put that evil on me. The title of your story time is Liar, Liar, Everything on Fire. I want to clip this and I want to add it to the beginning of this story, please. This is not a pleasant or even an interesting story, but ignoring red flags is like skinning your teeth. This guy's name is Gabriel Bullard, and his game name is Velas. I am still looking for that girl in Texas, but nobody has the balls to actually give me her name. Well, baby, I normally don't do this, but I got the balls to do a little bit of searching for you, so we'll see. Maybe she's a bestie. That would be cool. My relationship started when I was 19, and he was an unknown age. At the time, he said that he was 25, and this would become important later. I was a college student, starting out, and I had a history of abuse, so I fell right for the usual love-bombing narcissist. I was living with the manager of a very well-known company at the time, and was going to begin working with them after I completed a security check. Unfortunately, I managed to spin my car into a barrier of the highway multiple times, giving myself injuries that were only described as whiplash, but I can say for a fact that my collarbone was broken and I had a concussion that left me groggy and malleable for months. I had to drop my entire life because I wanted to change the radio, so letting myself move into a home with someone I didn't know was more pleasant than facing the fact that everything had changed. Fun facts. My friends had already assumed I knew he had taken advantage a girl. Taken advantage of a girl. Dumb. Stupid. Fun facts. My friends had already assumed that I knew he had taken advantage of a girl because I mentioned his ex in Dallas, Texas, who he apparently assaulted after an online relationship, probably not what she thought, over WoW, yes, World of Warcraft, at a meetup. Regardless, I did not know that information or the signs of narcissism, and I had also been raised to think men giving any attention was love, so I ended up just following the path of whatever he wanted to do. I moved into this man's house, and the pillow, the mattress, and the food in the pantry was all about the same age. There was a bloody mattress that smelled like death that he described as his dog's bed. I did confirm that the dog had passed away at some point. In the bed, he had a pile of dishes stacked like the Leaning Tower of Pisa, and I initially tried to throw them away to be greeted with a toddler-style meltdown. I was too stubborn to deal with family again, so I just did dishes for about 3 months, with his roommate adding to the stack. He was love-bombing me up until the point I got his dishes done. At that point, I was getting irritated because despite it being COVID, I still wanted a decent date, and so I nagged him. He increasingly became distant and would play World of Warcraft like it was going to make me go away. Nag. Eventually, I got to a point I was raising my voice and hitting myself, which is when I should have left. I tried to, take care of business, the business being me, twice. I'm so glad I'm bad at it. Me too, girl. Eventually, after 3 years of my boundaries being poured down the drain, 3 fucking years? He literally asked if he could waterboard me. At least he asked. The final straw was the fact that he literally lied about his birthday. I thought it was in June, but it was actually the same day as my mom's. And I went to try and visit her for her birthday. Mind you, the first time that I had seen my mom in 3 years, and I came home to a very angry World of Warcraft match, lots of clicking and typing bullshit, and was irritated like always, and asked him repeatedly if we could go get some food or watch a movie, just angry clicks in response. I raised my voice and I slammed stuff. He ran into the kitchen and got in my face. I threw some punches to his chest, which made me the aggressor. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he pushed me to the floor by my neck, and fuck if I knew what he was going to do with his other hand because I was busy fighting my ass off from the floor. I got dragged outside by my hair and left like a bag of trash when he was done. I didn't press charges. because his roommate didn't leave his room despite the actual literal screaming. This guy had a knife set that he got himself for Christmas, and he wouldn't let me use, despite me buying all of the cutting boards and a hazmat suit from Halloween for his Among Us costume. So I fully believed that my life was in danger. Our friends all believed that I was just a crazy bitch. So he currently has a great standing in the community and is working the job that I would have had. He also victim blamed the girl in Dallas after she sent his family the inappropriate pictures that he had sent to her. I'm not sure if this was before or after he actually physically took advantage of her. The title of your After Dark story time is Flip-Flops. I've been with a lot of weird and fucked up guys. However, this is the story of the last guy I dated. We met on Bumble, we went on a date, and I thought he was cute. I made the mistake of our second date being at a hotel room. Why would your second date be at a hotel room? You're giving me the agita. Why would your second date be in a fucking hotel room? That doesn't even make sense. Okay. It was a nice room, and he went downtown, which made me feel good. It made him the first guy to have done it, and he was good at it. So I figure, why not? We kept seeing each other. There was a lot of messing around in his car or getting a room. However, he was always a little bit of an odd guy. He wore flip-flops a lot. And there was just something about his hairy toes being out all of the time that made me mad. But we met at the end of summer, so they weren't out for long. He would also quack when he got overly excited. And I'm talking like quack. Like, He also had low-key hinted at being a Republican and told me that I was too political after the 2024 election. This man would also constantly eat with his shirt off, and I don't know why, but that just pissed me off. He got mad at me for never planning anything fun for us to do, despite him also not ever planning anything fun for us to do. While we were dating, I got laid off, and he came to my house to comfort me, and he told me that he bought me flowers, but he forgot them at his parents' house because my mom left and didn't remind me to take them. Okay, so he bought flowers for his mom. That's what I'm hearing. The last time I saw him was the morning after he had thrown up vodka crayons at my house after being annoyed that I didn't want to do it after having just gotten over a yeast infection. He broke up with me over text 2 weeks later. Anytime I miss him, my friends remind me of the flip-flops and the unfiled taxes, and I almost did it with him a few months after the breakup, but I came home and I gassed a little bit and I suddenly remembered who the fuck I was. Thank God! Thank God! The title of your After Dark story time is Not a Fan of Stand-Up. When I was in grad school, I had a boyfriend who had anger problems, and he was prone to screaming at me for anything, even the most innocuous things. If I didn't understand a concept in our classes, if I forgot my bag at home and I had to go back and get it, whatever it was that slightly annoyed him at all would ultimately end in me being screamed at and belittled. Why stay with him then? Well, he was hung. A beauty of a member, a real looker, a true sight to behold. The issue to him, I didn't care, was that with such a large Johnson, was that as a baby, his removal of the cap got fucked up. The forceps that the doctors used to hold the head of the thing away from the stuff during the procedure was too small in diameter for his humongous Peter as a baby. And gave him a scar across the entire head of his wiener, like a 1 centimeter to 1.5 centimeter deep ridge along the middle of the head. And he was really self-conscious about it. Please note, all of this is relevant to the plot. Thank God. Thank God. One day, in the middle of being intimate, I was topping him, and it was taking him a long time to finish. And while I was doing the duty one does on their knees when they're not talking to God, I thought it would be funny to make a joke, considering I had been topping him for over half an hour at this point, and I deserved a little levity. So while holding the base of the... While holding the base, I took his manhood out of my mouth. I held it in my hand like a comic doing stand-up. I tapped the tip of it and I said, "Is this thing on?" Anyways, as he was, and presumably still is, he screamed at me for about as long as I was filleting him, because apparently the scar on his wee-wee can make it insensitive so that he can't finish sometimes because of it. And he's self-conscious about it, which made him need to immediately end all of this to yell at me. Apparently the insensitivity to his member turns him into an insensitive little member. The worst part is he wouldn't let me finish until he finished. What? He wouldn't let me finish until he finished. So I continued for like 45 minutes, got only negative audience reception for a truly fantastic joke, and then was summarily screamed at for almost an hour. Anyways, I still think it was a great bit. He, however, did not. All right. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me for another wonderful episode of Bestie After Dark. I will see you next week. Bye.